Hey, Rach.
Yeah, Aubrey. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What a busy day. How about
Same
you?
here. Yeah, you have had a crazy day though.
Oh my word. It's like it's been wild. I'm like the weekend too. Oh, yeah. But I know you're around your work schedule, so you've had a busy day.
I did, and I've been like trying to tie in some appointments and things before we hit the road later this week. So it's just waited a little bit
Yes.
busier than usual. That's okay though.
Oh yeah.
Just yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, hi Rebecca and Nicole, and I think Nicole. Hi guys. Hopefully you guys haven't hopefully your week's been off to a great start. So we're just going to wait another moment here to see who else can hop on. I'm going to mute you guys for now, unless you want to say hello real quick. Can you hear us? It's so funny because I can't ever see any of you. But all right. Well, we'll just wait a minute and mute it here for now.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. Oh my word! I made the coleslaw, like the lime coleslaw with jalapeno. And I always forget when I cut jalapeno not to touch my eyes. I don't think
Oh,
I touch my eyes until I cut jalapeno. I'm like, oh my goodness.
oh, ow. I'm not like a big jalapeno girl in general, so I rarely ever even have them like to cut.
Oh yeah.
But oh man, that would be painful.
All right. Sorry, ladies. We're going to give it maybe just a little bit longer here, see if anybody else hops on. Always kind of waiting to see who is able to be here with us. So thank you for being here when you got here. That way we know you guys are able to be here. It helps us out. All right. You want to get started, Aubrey?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Let's do it. Okay. All right. You're starting, right?
I just realized I am. I'm like, yep, take it away, Rachel. Yes.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry,
You were
ladies.
starting. Okay, well.
No, I am. I'm just kind of making fun of
Oh,
myself
okay.
because I missed that. I'm having a moment. So
You're,
I'm sorry, everybody.
okay.
This is like a small glimpse as to what my day has been like. So why not now? Yes, I'm supposed to kick it off. So again, thank you so much for being here, ladies. And if you're catching the replay, thank you to those of you for watching. And welcome to our first official week. So not that last week wasn't official or didn't count, because of course it did. But this is the first week where we are implementing all of the strategies, tracking our macros in MyFitnessPal. And you might be sitting and listening to this video feeling like your head is a little fuzzy. I know that we have mentioned this time and time again last week, but because I've talked to a few of you today and I know there are some anxious feelings, Rach and I, again, just want to say, hang in there. It does get better, we promise, and be comfortable with the uncomfortable this week. So as you start to input food in MyFitnessPal and see where you're progressing and what you need as you continue the workouts, piece by piece, it will start to make sense over the next couple of weeks, and it won't feel like such a chore. Because I think right now, some things I'm hearing are, I'm tied to my phone, or I never knew that watermelon was so high in carbs, or whatever might be going on. It's a learning experience, which is amazing. These things will start to stick with you, and over time, it does become a little bit second nature. Rach and I have been doing this for a while, but we were at one point right where you are. And now I never thought I would be able to say this, but I've started to remember like the different macro breakdowns in food, and it does get easier. So again, give yourself grace. You're going to get the hang of it, we promise. And today, tomorrow, this week does not need to be perfect. So if you get to the end of the day and you've been tracking and something doesn't look exactly as you hoped it would or whatever, it's okay, because you are taking steps and making progress. And the other thing that I want to say is it is so worth it, you guys, because these strategies work. And so as we continue over the next few weeks, and certainly by the end of the program, you are going to be doing a little dance because you're going to be so excited with how you feel and how you look, maybe even surprised with some of the loss that you see around inches and that kind of a thing. So tonight we're going to focus on a few different topics. I'm going to kick us off with some reminders, and then Rachel and I are going to go over a few tips around the food cycle, especially now that you're implementing it in today's low carb day and you're practicing, and it's like, okay, welcome to low carb day. We're going to give you some tips as to how to stay on track this week. So the first thing I mentioned, by the end of the program, you're going to notice inches coming off and you're going to be feeling better and things like that. So that's a good reminder that if you have not yet done so, make sure to take your before measurements as well as your before photos. You are welcome to send those pictures to Rachel and I. We will keep them in a safe place, and we never distribute or share without your consent. We promise that if you just want to make sure that they are saved and they don't get lost, we're happy to hang on to them for you. And we talked about this last week during prep week, but even if you're like, I don't think I need a before photo, trust me, you're going to want it. Like, you absolutely will. So typically we say, like, take it in a bathing suit or a workout outfit or something that you're comfortable with. In the event you ever would want to share your before and after, you may have a change of heart someday. You really might. Make sure that you go ahead and do that. Specifically your new client assessment form as well. If you've not completed that, please make sure that you do that even tonight. It should take you like 2 minutes. It is pretty quick, but it's very helpful for Rachel and myself. All right, second reminder, please stay off the scale. So I know this is really hard, and some of us have come from a background where we're doing a program, we want to check even daily, or maybe you're in the habit of checking your weight when you wake up in the morning. Hide the scale, throw it away if you have to. And the reason why we say this is because the scale is only one measurement of the big picture. It's not a great indicator for your overall health. We talked last week about the difference between weight and fat loss, and as you're building muscle, and honestly, on days too, when you start having more carbs than others, you may feel a little heavier. It's just weird how it works. It's just a snapshot in time. Stay off of it if you can. Don't let it control you. And I hope you find some relief in that. And then towards the end of the program, when you do your after measurements, you're also welcome to do an after weigh-in just for before and after comparison purposes, but you really don't even have to ever reference it again in your life if you don't want to. Okay. The next reminder is around the portal. So I realize that some of you come today, like some of you were able to go to all of the trainings last week, read all the materials, go through the portal. Others of you had crazy lives last week with a ton going on, and you're still putting the pieces together. So if you have not yet done so, set aside some time to familiarize yourself with the Faster Way portal. There's great information in there. There is a tutorial video on setting up MyFitnessPal, which leads me to the next reminder. Your number one piece of homework today, if you haven't done so, is set up your MyFitnessPal profile, your goals, and then send Rachel and I a screenshot of your nutrients tab. You can send that to us through Facebook message. You can post it in the group. We want to take a look at it to make sure that your overall nutrient goals and your total calories look good. Because sometimes we need to make some tweaks. Maybe it's way too little, that kind of a thing. And in order for you to start tracking your food in MyFitnessPal and know where you are compared to goal, you need to set that up first. So let us know if you have questions as you do that, but definitely make that priority, and that will help set you up for success. one thing that comes to mind, a couple of you have asked me this today, and it's a wonderful question around MyFitnessPal. You do not need to track your workouts in MyFitnessPal. So the way that we have you set up your goals through your activity level, whether you are active or lightly active, depending on your participation in our workouts, that accounts for daily exercise already. So it's really great. You don't have to track that piece too. It's already kind of factored in there for you. We are only tracking food. You also don't have to input the water that you drink in there. Now, you certainly can if that's a way that it helps you stay on track to your water goal, but you don't need to. So hopefully that's helpful and a little bit of a relief. Lastly, if you have any of our prep week trainings to watch last week and you haven't gotten through all of them, remember we did whole food nutrition, carb cycling, and intermittent fasting. That was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Rachel posted all of the replays. Go ahead. I think it's probably like 2 hours worth of content when we account for like our question and answer times too, but it should give you some really great base level information as to why and how. Okay. Oh, and so speaking of the portal, sorry to backtrack here for a second. Go ahead and pin the portal. Whether you're accessing it through your computer or your phone, we recommend going ahead and pinning that because that way you have easy access and you don't have to like redo it every single day, that kind of a thing. I have it saved as a favorite on my phone. It's also an icon on my phone. Some of you, the one thing that's not amazing is sometimes you have to re-log in. So just know that in advance, but that is going to be more helpful for you than having to, again, redo it all the time. And then the last thing that Rachel and I wanted to talk about is just the daily communication. So as you know, we have a daily thread that we'll post with some things to focus on for the day, some things to consider. Sometimes we'll share recipes or articles or things that we hope is valuable to you. And that is where Rachel and I go to communicate with you and answer any questions. And so we would ask that starting today, anytime you have a question, go ahead and post it in the comments. I promise you that no question is too simple. No question is going to be viewed as stupid. I think there's some mentalities out there that's like, I think I'm the only one not getting something. I'm kind of nervous to ask it. I promise you, other people have the same question, and probably everyone in the group even. So it really is a benefit to everyone because we may be able to provide an answer that reaches everybody versus if you maybe reach out to us through another means that Rachel and I may not get to as quickly, or it may be duplicative and others have the same one. And so obviously if you have like a personal matter or you're not comfortable with a particular question that might be specific to your health or something, you're more than welcome to reach out to us individually. But otherwise, whether it's like a how do I question or is this okay to eat question, like if you want to post an ingredients label or you have questions about food, whatever it might be related to Faster Way, you go ahead and post it and we would love to answer. And then Rachel and I do try to go throughout the day periodically and answer as we can. So it may not be in real time, just because as you guys know, we have families and other things going on at any given moment, but it is a priority to us and we'll make sure to get to you as soon as possible. So Rachel, if there's any other reminders or aspects that you want to add to that, please go ahead.
Yeah, I think that was great, Aubrey. I'm just going to reiterate, yeah, definitely make sure you ask those questions. There's no silly question except for a question that is not asked. So we don't care what the question is, ask it because somebody else has that question. We're all learning and growing together. So it's important to ask as a group. So I think, and I'll talk about that. Never mind. I'm going to talk about this later, but as I close out. But I'm going to transition here real quick. Thank you, Aubrey, for that to our low carb day. I just want to give you a couple helpful tips and strategies as you approach these days. Hopefully, as you've practiced today, you've learned a couple things already on your own. The first thing I just kind of want to mention is just a quick reminder, like on your low carb day, remember most of us ladies will be having 50 grams of net carbs, okay? You can be under that, but we really want you to make that kind of the cutoff, all right? As, again, though, we're focused on progress, not perfection. So if you're hitting 70 grams, like net carbs, mouthful. That's great. That's great for this first week. This is your first time doing it. But just a reminder, if you are nursing or pregnant, okay, nursing, we definitely want to see you hit that 100 grams of net carbs. Carbs are super important to make sure your supply stays up. And if you're pregnant, you can be anywhere between 100 and 150 grams of net carbs, whatever feels best. Usually it depends on the day for me. If I'm experiencing nausea, whatever it might be, I'm going to increase my carbs because that seems to help stabilize that. So that is up to you. Listen to your body. As we talk about that too, here's our first tip, okay? You might be feeling a little bit hangry today, maybe even a little bit lethargic, nauseated, just maybe tired too. That is something we call the keto flu. When you like lower your amount of carbs, your body has to adjust to that because you are used to running off of carbohydrates. Now your body's trying to transition to burning fat. And so that is an adjustment period. Usually, like that usually goes away by the third week. It usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks for you to feel really energized on these days. And we promise you will, but your body has to make that transition first. So trust that process. Realize the first 2 weeks or so, Monday and Tuesday might be a little bit harder to get through. But realize come Wednesday, you're going to enjoy those carbohydrates. You're going to feel re-energized again. And we promise you'll feel that energy. All right, so next tip I want to give you, and we've talked about this before, enter your meals in before. And I had so many of you tell me that you did this, which is wonderful, because we got questions like, well, my calories, I'm super low on my calories, which is great. You entered in, so you realize, hey, something's wrong here. So let me address that. When you enter the night before or the morning of, helps you just plan out your day. And then you can kind of figure out like, okay, this is what I'm eating. This is what I'm going to. You're hitting those gram goals. So remember, when you are having about 50 grams of net carbs, like you are decreasing your amount of calories. Because let's say you typically have 220 on a normal day. That's a significant difference in calories. Like every gram of carbs is 4 calories. So we're looking at a significant decrease. Remember, you are replacing those missing calories with fat, okay? As much as you like hate that feeling like, whoa, this is so much fat, that's what we want you to do because it's going to get your body into that state of ketosis where you're actually going to burn fat, and we need to help you transition to that. So trust it. Fat's not going to make you fat, all right? So make sure you increase that fat because, again, if you are decreasing your amount of calories, your body's going in that preservation mode. So just a reminder on that. The next tip I want to give you, I think this is number 3, have some good snacks to go to. Things that are really moderate in protein, high in fat, low in carbs. And so I know Aubrey and I both have things that we love to have on hand. Things like jerky and beef sticks or turkey sticks are great things to go to. We have all sorts. My pantry is filled with different types of nuts and mixed nuts. And I have trail mixes. I love, especially trail mixes. Maybe look for trail mixes with dark chocolate. Dark chocolate, the higher the dark chocolate is, the better it is for you. It has low amount of net carbs. It's great for you, great antioxidants, so you can enjoy that. Olives and hummus is a great thing. Go for hummus with lots of veggies. Nut butters and peanut butter, have celery. You can have an apple. Apples are high in fiber. Make sure you fit that into your grams of net goals. But berries and things like that, those are low carbs, not high in fat, obviously, but those are good to go to. Avocado, coconut oil, olive oils, like anytime you can mix that into something, do that. So Aubrey gave a great list in the post today, so definitely check that out. And Aubrey and I share lots of stuff on our Instagram and things like that. Again, check out the resources that we gave you. We gave you access to our Pinterest boards, and those are growing always. We're always changing those, adding to those. I shared recipes last week, so check those sort of things out. Fat bombs, I said this last week, but find fat bombs on Pinterest. Oh my word, they're so good. You will thank yourself that you found them because it's that sweet thing that carries you over. Next tip I want to tell you is take in your water. So tip number 4, make sure you're getting your water in. This is so important because one, it's going to help with that detox, that keto flu that you're feeling. So that maybe nausea, that almost feelings of lethargy. Okay, sorry, it's been a long day. feeling bloated, water is going to help you digest protein and really that fat. So we want to be taking that in. But remember too, like often, like when you wake up, that signal for hunger is often confused with thirst. So go for that water bottle first. But the biggest reason why I want to emphasize get your water in is because it is important for fat metabolism. You want to burn fat, you got to get your water in. So let me explain briefly, and it's very brief, the science behind this. So your kidneys play a very important role in really filtering out the blood, all right? So when you are taking in a good amount of water, your kidneys can function optimally. So your kidneys are going to filter out waste from the blood. And that waste is just from the food that you eat, recycled cells, worn out muscle and tissue. And so we got to eliminate toxins from the body, and the kidneys are the primary organ that does that. However, if you are dehydrated and you're consistently dehydrated, your kidneys have to like ask somebody else for help, and they're going to go to the liver. The liver's primary role is actually to help you metabolize fat, to help you burn fat. But when the liver is pulled into helping, and obviously it does eliminate toxins and things like that, our liver can do that. But when it's pulled because the kidneys can't function optimally, the liver is called upon to help you eliminate toxins. So you're pulling your liver from metabolizing burning fat, which is the whole point of this, just because you're not drinking enough water. So we want to encourage you, make sure you're taking in that water because it will help with a fat burning process and you'll just feel better. Last tip I'm going to give you, vary up your proteins. I think sometimes like we want you to keep things simple initially because it's just easier to learn how to track that. But sometimes we get into a rut where like, oh, I'm just eating the same thing. I know that helped me eating the same thing when I started off initially. But if you're feeling in a rut, vary up your protein, because as soon as you start feeling bored, you're like, tap out. We don't want you to tap out. Vary up your protein on days like this. Have those high fatty meats. Go for all the type of steak you want, that sirloin, that ribeye, whatever it might be, that good fatty fish, okay? Lamb is super high in fat. So there's lots of different meats that you can go to. Vary up that meat, vary up what you're eating. You can certainly do that. One other thing too, again, though, sometimes when you're first starting on these low carb days, it's easy to increase our protein with our fat. We want you to keep the protein obviously the same because that protein can actually get converted to carbohydrates. It's a process called gluconeogenesis, like where it actually just converts it to carbohydrates. So we want you to keep your protein where the gram goal is set. I think that's it. So Aubrey, if you have anything else to kind of tap in there, go for it. But I think
that was great.
Tips for a normal macro day now.
Yes. Thank you, Rachel. That's really helpful for low carb. And again, ladies, at the end, we'll open it up for questions. So if you have some specific like low carb day questions too, we're happy to address them. So here's some regular macro day or normal macro day tips. And remember that those days are Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. A lot of this can also be applied to low macro, which is Friday and Sunday, or our rest days, where we're consuming a little bit less overall, but we're still kind of going for our balanced macros. What I mean by that is on those days in MyFitnessPal, it defaults to 50% carbs, 30% fat, 20% protein if you look at your pie chart. And it just so happens that that matches what our goals are for that day. Because as you know, on a low carb day, if you have the free version of MyFitnessPal, it looks like you're way off and you're not. So that's something to keep in mind for a normal macro day, regular macro day, where we're eating all the carbs again, which is awesome. So after you've had 2 days back to back of low carb, on Wednesday, we're going to have our normal amount of carbohydrates, as well as the same amount of protein. Remember, that stays moderate every day, and then a more minimal amount of fat. And so a couple things to keep in mind. We first recommend that you eat like good whole carbs from things like fruits and vegetables. Focus on that as much as possible. Now, you're going to want to vary it up too. So then you can start to add in complex carbs. Rachel and I know we'll vary it sometimes, like rice, quinoa, oatmeal. I do a lot of beans like black beans or garbanzo beans or chickpeas. They're the same thing. And start to kind of add that in. some things that really do help increase your carbs, we did talk about this last week, but would be like root vegetables, bananas are higher in carbs, those types of things. And something that will be so helpful is play around with MyFitnessPal. We do recommend, obviously, that you pre-plan the night before or the morning of, but some of that pre-planning is going to come through like a test and learn with what you put in MyFitnessPal. So for example, maybe you're like, okay, I think I want to have a banana and maybe I want to have a sweet potato, and you start planning it. You'll actually see, you don't have to save it in MyFitnessPal yet, but you can see how many carbs are in there, or what the macro breakdowns are, and how it helps you towards your goals for that day. And that's where a lot of that learning and retention comes, is by that type of practice. Also on regular macro day, we recommend that you focus on lean meats. So anything with the word loin in it is usually a good go-to because it tends to be a leaner meat, less fatty. Also, you could do turkey sausage, chicken, maybe a leaner fish, those types of things as well. Because on a low carb day, we tell you, go ahead and try to get those fatty meats in. You might hit your fat a lot faster on non-low carb days if you don't watch it, and leaner meat is kind of an easier way to help you do that. And then one thing additionally to keep in mind, we get this question a lot, is do I have to hit my macrogram goal like right on the money? Let's say your carb goal is 220. What if it says 223 or 217? That is completely fine. If you're within about 10 grams either way, like either side of that goal, you're doing great. So again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And there might be some days where you do hit it all right on the money, but it can be within a little bit of a range there as well. And I think that's mostly what I had for regular macro. We did get a good question over the weekend that asked on Saturday, when we incorporate a treat, is that in addition to our goals for the day, or is it supposed to fit? So this is where we take on the if it fits your macros approach. If you've not heard of that or seen that hashtag before, if it fits your macros, meaning let's say you choose to have a donut, put the donut in MyFitnessPal and work the rest of your day around that. It will go towards your goals for the day. It's not in addition to it. So I hope that that's helpful. Rachel, what else would you like to add about regular macro?
I think that's it. But guys, we'll open up the floor here real quick. Let me see if you guys have any questions. If not, we'll do closing remarks. But realize as questions come up too, you can ask them in the daily thread and things like that. So any questions, ladies? No? Hopefully, let me just hear a yes or no. Was today a good start? Or maybe a maybe.
I ended up with mastitis, so it was a terrible day.
Oh no.
That is literally the worst. I've had that so much when I was nursing Samuel. There's nothing like that. That is the worst.
Girl,
it's awful. Yeah, so I'm like way under. I ate like one meal today and a protein shake, so my pie chart will be exciting.
Oh.
But hopefully tomorrow I'll be feeling better. I'm on an antibiotic now as of about maybe a few hours ago, but I didn't even eat till like 4 o'clock, so it was just like a bad first day.
Yeah.
But stupid boobs.
So get that water in for sure, and
yeah,
rest, and tomorrow is a new day. I hope you feel better, girl. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I've been there several times when I was nursing my daughter, and that it's crazy. So I hope that I'm glad you're on an antibiotic now, and don't worry about today.
Yeah,
just kind of let it be. You need to focus on getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Aw. Okay. Well, ladies, let me. And first, I just want to say I appreciate you, Nicole, sharing that. Because that's one thing. We hope you feel a true sense of community in our group, and especially as we move on. I know Aubrey and I, like I've talked about this before, like we want to start by establishing accountability. We know not everybody knows any, like most people in here, and it really does start with accountability, because with accountability, when you feel accountable to somebody, to something, to a group of people, that helps you form trust. And like Nicole, I just appreciate you sharing that, because like when you are feeling like, okay, I trust this environment, I trust this place, like you're vulnerable, you're willing to share like the good things, the bad things, rough days, things that, you know, might not have happened. We know this journey is not going to be like a perfect journey, and that's okay. Like, that's life. Like, no journey's perfect. No health journey's perfect. I know I didn't have a perfect day with my eating. And you know what? When we're able to live in vulnerability and talk about that and share it and share what's going on, that's like true community. And we hope you experience that here. So thank you, girls. And I know like we'll continue to share and be open. I'm excited. This group is such a great group. I just want to give 2 other reminders as we close here. Just remember, like it can take 2 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer for you to feel a difference, okay? That will happen though, okay? Sometimes you feel a little bit worse before you feel better, okay? And then it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for you to start seeing a difference. So realize like there's a time frame where you'll see a difference, and then typically around 10 to 12 weeks is when others start to notice a difference. So remember, this is not a quick fix. I mean, relatively though, 12 weeks, you know, 10 weeks, like that's not a long time for people to start noticing a difference if you're truly sticking to the techniques, the strategies. So just again, reminding you to trust the process. And last thing I want to encourage you to do is stay positive and stay engaged. And the more engaged you are, okay, and especially in this group, the greater your experience will be. And really, like, if we're having a rough day or things are just not going the best, like, be an encouragement to others. We want to be able to support and encourage each other in here. I know, like, sometimes, like, if my day is like rough, like whatever might be, usually it's circumstantial and I'm just pouting about it. If it's rough, like the best thing for me to do is just encourage somebody else. And I know that will get me out of that. So anyway, I just want you guys to, I just love you guys. So does Aubrey. We thank you guys for being open, asking all your questions. And we look forward to our next live call. That won't happen until week 3 though. So definitely talk to us like in the comments, share with us what's going on. And yeah, we look forward to the start of this first week. I believe you guys are going to be successful and going to do a great job. So Aubrey, any last few things to say?
Just thank you. And we're rooting you on this week. We hope you guys have a great evening.
Thanks, girls, for being with us here. All right, bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.